أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh viewers. My name is Muhammad Anan and I'm foundation level student at Rehan School, Islamabad, Barakpur campus. So viewers, today I am going to talk with Maya on a simple topic of please. So Maya, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Alright
I'm
Maya.
ready to dive into please whenever you.
Alright Maya.
I'm locked in.
So my first question from
Ready for the
you.
first question. I'm listening.
What is the meaning of the word please?
At its core, please is a way to make a request more polite. It turns a command into a request, showing that you're not just demanding something, but asking for it with respect.
Alright Maya, thank you. So my next question is why is please considered a polite word?
It's all about the social lubricant. Using please acknowledges that the other person has a choice in whether they help you. It signals that you're not taking their time or effort for granted, which makes them much more likely to want to help in the first place.
Alright Maya, thank you. So my next question is how did the word please originate?
Let me check the details on that.
Alright.
It actually comes from the old French word plaisir, which means to give pleasure. That eventually traces back to the Latin word placere, and the please we use today is actually a shortened version of old phrases like, if it please you.
Thank you. So my next question from you. The question is what role does politeness play in society?
It's basically the glue that keeps things from getting messy. Politeness creates a shared set of expectations, which reduces friction and prevents unnecessary conflict. It makes people feel respected, which opens the door for better cooperation and trust in everything from a quick grocery store interaction to a high stakes business meeting.
Thank you, Maya. My next question is how has the use of please changed over time?
It's shifted from being a formal requirement to something more about genuine intent. In the past, it was often a strict social rule. You used it because you had to. Now it's more of a social signal. In casual settings, we often skip it or replace it with a certain tone of voice, but when we do use it, it's usually to show a specific level of respect or to soften a request that might otherwise feel too.
Thank you, Maya. My next question is why do parents teach children to say please?
It's their first lesson in empathy. By teaching kids to say please, parents are showing them that other people's time and effort are valuable. It's a way of training them to realize that they can't just expect everything they want immediately, and that being kind is the best way to get a positive response from the world.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is saying please a universal custom?
Hmm, not exactly. While the concept of being polite is universal, the actual word or gesture used to ask for something is different in every culture. Some languages don't even have a direct one-to-one translation for please and instead use different phrases or verb endings to show respect.
Thank you, Maya. My next question is how do different cultures express politeness?
It's a wild variety. Some cultures lean into formal honorifics or specific titles to show respect, while others focus more on nonverbal cues like bowing or avoiding direct eye contact. In some places, being overly direct is seen as rude, so they use a lot of indirect language to soften a request, whereas other cultures value brevity and honesty as the highest form of politeness.
Thank you, Maya. Can politeness exist without words?
Absolutely. Politeness is often more about the energy you bring than the words you say. A genuine smile, holding a door open for someone, or just giving someone your full attention while they're talking. Those are all forms of politeness that don't require a single word.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is why do people appreciate hearing please?
because it makes them feel seen. It's a small acknowledgement that you respect their autonomy and their effort. When someone says please, it shifts the dynamic from a transaction to a human connection, and that's something everyone appreciates.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is how does please improve communication?
It takes the edge off. It removes the feeling of being ordered around, which keeps people open and receptive rather than defensive. When the communication is smooth and respectful, you actually get your point across more effectively because the other person is listening to the request, not reacting to the tone.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is what emotions are associated with polite language?
It usually sparks a feeling of mutual respect. When the person asking feels grateful or humble, it creates a sense of warmth and safety. On the flip side, if someone uses it sarcastically, it can actually feel cold or condescending, showing how much the emotion depends on the tone.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is how does tone affect the meaning of please?
Tone is everything. Is the difference between a genuine request and a demand disguised as a polite word. If your voice is warm, please feels like a kindness. If it's sharp or flat, that same word can feel like an order or even a weapon. The words are just the skeleton. The tone is what actually gives the message its heart.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is can please ever sound rude or sarcastic?
Oh, for sure. It's all about the delivery. If someone says, please, with a roll of the eyes or a sharp, impatient tone, it stops being a request and starts feeling like a demand or a way to point out that you're not doing something fast enough. It actually becomes more frustrating than if they hadn't used the word at all.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is what is the connection between politeness and respect?
They're basically two sides of the same coin. Politeness is the external behavior, the words and gestures we use, while respect is the internal feeling. Politeness is often how we show that respect to the world, making it the visible signal that we actually value the other person.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is how did ancient societies show politeness?
Hmm. Let me look into that. It was a lot more about rituals and strict social codes back then. In ancient China, for example, they had a concept called linge, which was all about propriety and having clear norms for how to and conduct yourself. Ancient Egypt had its own strict codes, and even in ancient Greece, something as simple as where you sat during a meal could signal your status and how you were expected to treat others.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is what role did royalty play in shaping polite speech?
I'm assuming you're asking how royal courts influence the way we talk politely. Um,
Yes.
they basically set the gold standard because the courts were centers of power and prestige. The highly formal and careful language used around royalty became the blueprint for what polite speech looked like for everyone else. It turned politeness into a tool for navigating social hierarchy.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is how has modern technology changed polite communication?
It's definitely streamlined things, but it's also made them a bit more ambiguous. We've traded long formal letters for quick texts and emojis, which makes communication faster, what removes all the tone and body language we rely on. Now, a simple period at the end of the placed emoji can do the work of an entire.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, why do some people forget to say please online?
I think it's a lack of immediate feedback. When you're face to face, you can see someone's reaction if you're rude. Online, there's a screen between us, and that distance makes it easy to forget that there's a real person with actual feelings on the other end of the message.
Thank you. So my next question is politeness becoming less common today?
I wouldn't say it's disappearing, just evolving. We're moving away from the rigid, formal rules of the past and towards something more authentic. People might not use the same formal phrases as they used to, but they're still looking for respect and kindness. They just express it in different ways now.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how does culture influence polite behavior?
Go for it.
So my question from you, how does culture influence polite behavior?
It's essentially the playbook for what's considered respectful. In some places, it's all about formal titles and hierarchy or conflict to keep things smooth. Another person's distant or even rude.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, what are the benefits of being polite? So my question is, how does politeness affect relationships?
It acts as a social lubricant. It lowers the tension and makes people feel respected, which usually opens them up to be more honest and vulnerable. When you know the other person isn't going to be abrasive, you're more likely to trust them.
Thank you. So my next question is, can politeness reduce conflicts?
Definitely. It keeps a disagreement from turning into a fight. When you lead with respect, it's much harder for the other person to stay defensive.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, what are the benefits of being polite?
It opens doors. Beyond just making a good first impression, it builds a reputation as someone reliable and considerate. People are generally more willing to help or go the extra mile for someone who treats them with dignity.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, why is please important in customer service?
It signals that the interaction is a request, not a demand. It shifts the power dynamic so the customer feels in control and the employee feels respected. That usually makes the whole experience feel less transactional and more human.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how does polite speech influence first impressions?
And sets the tone immediately. It tells the other person that you're mindful of their presence and boundaries before they even know anything else about you. It usually replaces anxiety with a sense of comfort.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is politeness more important in formal situations?
In some ways, yes. It creates a necessary structure and prevents misunderstandings when you don't know the other person's boundaries. But in casual settings, it's often what transforms a basic acquaintance into a real friend.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how do schools encourage polite behavior?
Usually through a mix of positive reinforcement and clear boundaries. They often use things like reward systems or just calling out a student's kindness in front of the class to make it the standard. It's all about normalizing that respect is the default way to interact.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, what is the
You're welcome.
psychology behind polite words?
It's all about reciprocity. When we're treated with kindness, our brains are wired to want to return that feeling. Polite words trigger a sense of safety and validation, which lowers our guard and makes us more cooperative.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how does please reflect empathy?
It's a direct application of it. When you choose to be polite, you're acknowledging that the other person has feelings and a perspective that matters. It's basically saying, I see you and I care about how this interaction affects you.
All right, Maya. So my next question is, can politeness improve teamwork?
Absolutely. It removes the friction that comes from ego. When people feel valued and respected, they're more likely to share ideas and take risks without fear of being shut down, which is exactly how the best collaboration happens.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, can politeness improve teamwork?
I just answered that one. You're asking if it improves teamwork, right?
Yes, so my next question is, why do leaders use polite language?
To build trust and authority without intimidation. When leaders are polite, they show they don't need to shout to be heard. It makes people feel safe enough to give honest feedback and stay loyal rather than just following orders out of fear.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, what happens when people stop using polite expressions?
I've interactions start feeling more transactional and abrasive when those small there's no baseline of kindness to fall back on.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is politeness linked to morality?
Not necessarily. Politeness is more of a social skill than a moral compass. You can be perfectly polite while being a terrible person, and you can be incredibly blunt or rude while having a heart of gold. It's the difference between knowing the rules of the game and actually caring about the people you're playing with.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how does media influence polite communication? So my next question is, how does media influence polite communication?
It essentially acts as a blueprint. It shows us what's acceptable and what's cool in a given moment. When we see characters we admire using certain phrases or tones, we tend to mirror those habits in our own lives. It can either elevate the way we talk or make things a lot more casual and blunt, depending on what's trending.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, why do some languages have multiple level of politeness?
It's usually about reflecting social hierarchy. In many cultures, the language is designed to explicitly show respect based on things like age, status, or how well you know someone. It's a way of acknowledging a person's place in the community right in the structure of the sentence.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how does body language support polite speech?
I'm not quite following. Could you say that again?
Yes. For sure. How does body language support polite speech?
It's the missing piece of the puzzle. Words can be polite, but if your arms are crossed and you're frowning, the message is completely different. Body language, like a smile, nod, or maintaining eye contact, confirms that the words are genuine. It turns a polite phrase into a real connection.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, what is the difference between genuine and forced politeness?
It's the difference between a gift and a requirement. Genuine politeness comes from a place of empathy. You actually care about the other person's comfort. Forced politeness is just following a script to get something or avoid a problem. People can usually feel the gap between the two because the tone and body language don't quite align with the words.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, can excessive politeness be harmful?
In some cases, yeah, it can create a wall between people. If everything is too polished and formal, it can feel insincere or like you're hiding your real self. It often stops people from being honest about a problem because they're too worried about being polite to actually fix it.
All right, Maya. So my next question
I'm
is,
here.
how has social media affected manners?
That's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's made us more connected, but it's stripped away the nonverbal cues that make politeness work, like tone and eye contact. That's why a simple text can feel aggressive when it was meant to be neutral, and why people are way more likely to be blunt or rude when they're hiding behind a screen.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, why is please important in professional environments?
I think you mean why is please important in professional environments, right? It keeps
Yes.
things from feeling like a set of demands. When you use please with a colleague or a boss, it signals that you respect their time and their autonomy, which makes them a lot more likely to actually want to help you out.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, how do polite words impact mental health?
They act as a form of emotional validation. When someone is polite to us, it triggers a release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which reduces stress and makes us feel safe. Over time, those small positive interactions can lower anxiety and make a person feel more connected to the world around them, which is a huge win for overall mental well being.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is, what role does politeness play in diplomacy?
It's the primary tool for keeping the peace. In diplomacy, politeness isn't just about being nice, it's a strategic necessity. It allows countries to disagree on massive issues without the conversation breaking down entirely. By maintaining a level of formal respect, diplomats can explore compromises and keep channels open, even when they're fundamentally at odds.
All right, Maya. Thank you. So my next question is, how do children learn manners from adults?
They mostly learn by mirroring. Kids are like sponges, they watch everything. They see the adults in their life saying thank you and treating others with respect. They'll naturally pick up those habits as the default way to interact. It's way more about what adults do than what they actually tell them to do.
Thank you, Maya. So my next question is politeness taught or natural?
It's a bit of both. The basic instinct to be cooperative and avoid conflict is natural, but the actual rules of politeness, like saying please or how to greet a stranger, are entirely taught. It's like a language. You're born with the ability to communicate, but you have to learn the specific words and customs of your culture to actually do it.
All right, Maya. Thank you. Uh,
You're welcome.
all right, Maya. Thank you for your cooperation. See you soon.
Of course. See you soon. Take care.
So, viewers, this was my colony. I hope you like it. We'll meet again in the next video. Until then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.